They told me to go home and not come back until they said it was okay. They said you don't have to ask me twice. I'm out here to kind of ease into things today by cleaning up a little bit. I've gotten involved in a lathe project. These are the elephant ear style mirrors, and there's a little clippy clip that goes here and a washer underneath it. And this weird arrangement, here's the mirror, where there's a lock nut that tightens this thing down, but the lock nut is facing up this way from behind that washer, and that squeezes this thing together, and it's just, that's kind of weird, but whatever. All this melted away. You can see none of it's in good shape, but it's what I've got, so really trying to save on some cash right now after buying this thing. So the clip, this would be an external clip, I think. Yeah, this would be an external clip. Oh, that's going to be pretty easy, but the washer is kind of a thing. I looked at the other side, which thankfully is in better shape. Here's what's left of the clip, so I'll need to replace this. Here's the washer thingy. Just so happens that this is about the same size as a 10mm bolt, so a 10mm washer will fit around this post, but it's pretty skinny. So I've got to turn down a 10mm washer to this size. The trickiest part of this is going to be holding the thing in the lathe. Let's mess around with it, see if we can make that happen. This is what I've come up with so far. It's pretty snug on a 7/16 inch bolt. This doesn't really need to be that precise. That might be enough to hold it in place. I don't know. Let's see. I think I'll end up turning some of this nut here too, which, I don't know. If the tool bit can do it, no biggie. This is my target. I don't have to quite get this small. That is smaller than where I am now. Maybe another 1/16 or so. That's it. That's what I need. Perfect. Let's see if we can get it off. A little bit of cleanup in the wire brush, I think we'll be all set. Here's the hardware store clip. We want it to sit down in this groove. So that looks about right. There's our homemade washer. It's nice and snug, I'll take it. I do believe that will work. I'd like to do something about that. I want to be careful about prying this. So when I get a new mirror, I'll get a good mirror. I think I saw some stainless ones for sale, which is pretty cool. So maybe an excuse to upgrade. Let's start taking care of some knickknacks. So that nut does not spin around this metal line like it should. So let's see if we can break it free. I've been hitting it with Croil over the last, I guess, couple of weeks now, week or so. I think I'm gonna have to hit it with a little bit of heat and see if we can get it to twist. Here goes. all it took, folks. Wish it was always that easy. I love my other projects, but it's kind of nice to work on one that isn't hopeless. Still pretty hot. Okay, ouch, that's hot. I'm gonna let that cool down and I'll work on it some more. In the meantime, I need to lube all of this stuff. These are the kingpins down here and right here. And these are the link pins here, if I've got all that right, that go to the trailing arms. I identified this movement. There's actually some thrust bushings. Go here and here. And I imagine that mine are worn. Well, that's in the up-down direction. Don't really get anything left to right. Here's an adjustment for the thing that I think is okay. Yeah, there's adjustments here too. But not for what I want. That just needs the right thrust bushing in it, or thrust washer. Which means I'd have to take the whole thing apart. I'm gonna clean all this off, lube all 4 of those, and then see how she drives. These Zerk fittings cleaned off like that, I won't be pushing gook and sand into the bushings when I first start pushing grease through. So everything's kind of nice and pretty now, you know, without taking it all apart and refurbishing everything. So I'm just gonna make another mess. I think as I push the grease in here, I'll know I'm good when fresh grease comes out, not old grease. I'll be looking for fresh grease, so I may just end up cleaning this all over again. That'll be all right. I just want to make sure I got some lube in there. Woo, ugly. Take a look at the difference in this grease. This is the new grease, this is the old grease. That looks like a little bit of rust to me. So maybe some water's been in there. So we're gonna push grease in until this comes out of there. I see some little strings of the new grease there. This is starting to look better. Still not there. I'm gonna go through quite a bit of grease, I think. Almost there. I'm gonna call that good. I will probably do this again soon. We'll get all this stuff exercised and woke back up after its 8 years slumber. See if we can push some new life back into it. You know, another thing is these need caps, so I'm gonna make sure and put some of those on order. That's not something that I want to cheap out on. In a pinch, aluminum foil works good, so in the meantime I might throw some of that on there. Sure is easy to get to all this stuff without the backing plate on. Uh-oh, out of grease. It's no wonder. It's taking a lot. Okay, round 2. Fresh tube of grease. Gotta come back and put caps on these things. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it a day. Got some things done, that's pretty cool. Got some things done that aren't paint. Got tired of painting. One thing I wanna do is clean and lube the guide tubes for the various cables, like the e-brake cables the accelerator cable and the clutch cable. They're all open on this end because there's supposed to be a splash pan down here. I haven't found any seals for those, so I guess the splash pan does all of the guarding of the openings of those tubes, but they're just there in the breeze with no splash pad, so there's undoubtedly crud that's gotten in there. Since I have the engine out, I think now's my chance. The clutch tube may be a little difficult to clean because the Bowden tube is still in place, but I'll at least do the accelerator and the e-brake cables because they're pretty easy to get to right now. So I'll pull those out, clean them, and lube them up, and then move on to something else. Have some work to do in the back with the brake lines. We saw this before. The axle tube on the driver's side, it doesn't have this little clip to hold the metal line where it joins the rubber line, and that's not good. We're gonna make one of those and weld it in place, various sundries. So stay tuned, we'll do some more. It'll be cool. We'll continue our efforts under the bus while the paint cures. At some point, we'll be able to put things together, but refurbishing the various guide tubes is next. We'll be glad they're in good shape when we drive away from the shop. We keep getting closer to that day, so I'll see you in the next video and we'll do a little more.